Will this bubble burst in Canada? It's looking like it. We got this guy saying here, doesn't think housing prices will ever go down below past 500, 600,000 or 5,000 plus. That's true. You have much bigger mortgages because they're just the values of homes are so much now.
Remember when Canada was the friendly neighbor up north? Now it's ground zero for a housing crisis. Average Toronto home, $1.1 million. Average income, $84,000. The math doesn't add up.
The GTA housing market is a slow motion disaster. Average home price 1.1 million, median income 84,000.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Want to know how we got here? Stick around as we unpack Trudeau's immigration gamble and why it's pushing Canada to the brink. In 2023, Trudeau's government added a staggering 1.2 million new residents to Canada. This wasn't just a coincidence. It was part of an ambitious plan to boost the country's population and economy. Trudeau envisioned a Canada with more workers, more consumers, and more growth. But as we're seeing now, this dream has turned into a nightmare for many Canadians.
This is a historic moment for Canada. This achievement comes at a crucial time in our history.
While the population surged, so did housing costs. The average home price in the Greater Toronto Area has hit a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That's not just a number, it's a barrier keeping countless families from owning a home. And it's not just Toronto. Cities across Canada are facing similar crises, with housing prices soaring far beyond what average Canadians can afford.
It's a terrible place to be. I know exactly that feeling, and that's why he says here families are drowning and no one is coming to save them. Yeah, no one is coming to save you.
But it's not just about housing. The rapid population growth is straining infrastructure everywhere. Roads are more congested, hospitals are overwhelmed, and schools are bursting at the seams. Trudeau's plan to boost the economy is backfiring spectacularly. Economists at the National Bank of Canada are sounding the alarm. They warn that Canada has fallen into a population trap. It's a vicious cycle where resources are drained to accommodate new arrivals, which in turn impairs economic growth. Instead of prosperity, we're seeing families struggling to make ends meet. Take a moment to think about this. In Toronto, the median income is around $84,000. Now compare that to the average mortgage payment exceeding $3,000 per month. For many, that's more than half their take-home pay just to keep a roof over their heads. This isn't sustainable, and Canadians know it. The public reaction has been swift and decisive. A recent survey revealed that 67% of Canadians now oppose Trudeau's immigration targets. That's a massive shift in public opinion, reflecting growing concerns over housing affordability and quality of life. People are worried about their future, their children's future, and the very fabric of Canadian society. Trudeau's immigration gamble has clearly backfired, but how will he respond to this growing crisis? As pressure mounts, all eyes are on the Prime Minister.
Will this bubble burst in Canada? It's looking like it. We got this guy saying here, doesn't think housing prices will ever go down below past 500, 600,000.
Will he admit his mistakes and change course? Or will he double down on a policy that's pushing Canada to the brink? The housing crisis is just the beginning. Stay tuned as we dive into the full impact of Trudeau's decisions on Canadian families and communities. The housing crisis in Canada isn't just about numbers. It's about real people facing impossible choices. For every 4 new workers entering Canadian cities, there's only 1 new home being built. This math doesn't add up, and neither do the dreams of countless families. So what happens when a nation's aspirations collide head-on with cold, hard reality? Canadians across the country are feeling the squeeze. In Toronto, where the average home costs a staggering $1.1 million, families earning the median income of $84,000 are left wondering if they'll ever own a home.
We have more people collecting taxes than we do within our army. Can you tell where our government's priorities are?
It's not just big cities feeling the pain. From coast to coast, Canadians are struggling to find affordable housing as prices soar far beyond what average incomes can support. The disconnect between government policies and market realities is stark. While Trudeau's government talks about affordable housing initiatives, many Canadians feel these efforts are too little, too late. Take Sarah, a nurse in Vancouver, who's been house hunting for 2 years. "Every time I save enough for a down payment, the goalposts move," she says. "It feels like the Canadian dream is slipping away."
Navigate a world that is increasingly complex.
Yeah, okay, we get it. It's a ship launching, navigate, haha.
Or consider Mark and Lisa, a young couple in Montreal. They both have good jobs but can't afford to start a family because rent eats up over half their income. "We're putting our lives on hold because of housing costs," Mark explains. "It's not just about owning a home anymore, it's about having a future." These stories are far from unique. Across Canada, families are making tough choices, delaying major life decisions, or considering moving to more affordable areas. The pressure is mounting, and many are asking, where is the government in all of this? Trudeau's response to the crisis has been slow and, some argue, inadequate. His government has proposed measures like removing the GST from new rental apartment construction, but critics say it's not enough to address the scale of the problem. The Prime Minister himself seems to recognize the shortcomings. In a rare moment of candor, Trudeau admitted he could have moved faster on housing. But is this admission enough? As Canada's housing market teeters on the brink, many are questioning the country's future.
Or 5,000 plus, that's true. You have much bigger mortgages because the values of homes are so much now.
Can Canada remain a welcoming nation for immigrants and new families alike if basic shelter becomes a luxury? The answers to these questions will shape the nation for generations to come. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. The great Canadian housing crisis is far from over. Trudeau's grand immigration plan has turned into a housing nightmare for Canadians. The influx of 1.2 million new residents in 2023 sent home prices skyrocketing, leaving average families priced out of the market. Toronto's eye-watering $1.1 million average home price tells a shocking story of a dream slipping away. The backlash has been swift and fierce. A whopping 67% of Canadians now oppose Trudeau's immigration targets. It's a clear sign that the public's patience is wearing thin.
Of a new ship in Vancouver. I'm just going to play the first few seconds of here. He thinks he's funny. He thinks he's clever. Just listen to this.
Trudeau's admission that he could have moved faster on housing rings hollow for those struggling to keep a roof over their heads. As Canada grapples with this crisis, a burning question remains. Can the Great White North stay true to its welcoming spirit when so many can't afford a place to call home? The answer will shape Canada's identity for years to come.